Welcome to the Rusted Garden Homestead, and kind of the last prerequisite that you'll need to understand for starting seeds indoors is how and when to water your seed starts and when would you fertilize them. So I'm going to cover that now quickly. So when you get a seed starting mix out of a bag, it's usually a light brown like this. It's not full of water, it's not saturated. And then I showed you in the video, we put it into a container, we add in boiling water to control the fungus gnats. It gets to be a nice dark color. So when you set it up in your seed starting cells or trays or containers, it's a nice dark color. I'm starting different herbs in here right now, and it's nice and dark. Over time, the soil will begin to dry from the top down. As soon as it becomes a light brown, wait a day or two. You want the top to be a little bit dry. Helps manage funguses and molds by letting the top dry a bit. But moisture will remain down below the surface. Once it gets dry, in contrast real quick, that's a dry starting mix. That's a dark starting mix. When it looks like that, it's about time to water. I always water from the bottom. Take out a tray, pour water in. There should always be holes in the bottom of your container, and maybe fill this, a quarter of the way. Eventually you get used to how much water to put in there. The containers will absorb the water up, and the light brown will turn dark brown. And you just kind of follow that process as your seed starts growing. The bigger the plants get, the more quickly they dry out, but remember, the top will dry first, moisture will be at the bottom, so you have plenty of time. Just wanted to show you what the process looks like. These are cells that are fully saturated. So as they're absorbing water from the bottom, you're going to see them go from the light color to the dark color. After about 30 minutes, they should have absorbed all the water they're going to pull into the cells. Just dump out the excess. You don't want water sitting in here for days. So 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer, dump it out, and your seed cells will be good to go. Now, a seed will grow off of the seed coat. It'll get plenty of nutrition from the coat that surrounds the seed. So when it germinates, it's living off of its shell basically. After about 10 days to 14 days of the plant germinating and growing, you're going to need to fertilize. And as we put water into here, you would just use any water soluble fertilizer, fill up your container and use that water soluble fertilizer at about a quarter of strength. Meaning if it says put in 1 tablespoon into a gallon of water, use a quarter of a tablespoon in a gallon of water. Your plants in these starting cells don't need a lot of fertilizer. In fact, you can do more harm by over fertilizing them because the fertilizer will concentrate in the cells. It can cause a problem. Just a very low amount of any water soluble fertilizer once a month or twice a month. Just swap out when when the soil gets a light color. Instead of just putting in water, put in some water with fertilizer in there. Maybe do that once a month when they're smaller. As they get bigger, you may have to do that twice a month. But that will be plenty of fertilizer. This is a perfect way to water your plants, and this is just the pattern you would follow throughout the growing period of your different plants. So now that we have the basics set up, starting in January, if you want to follow, we're going to plant perennial flowers, herbs, we're going to do tomatoes, peppers, and all kinds of vegetables for your garden seed starting indoors. That was a clumsy way to say that, but I'm going to grow everything you can think of inside so you can take it out to your garden. Thanks for watching, and please check out my seed shop at therustedgarden.com.